Hey guys, I'm BTC. This is the Mindcrack server. Unfortunately, this video will be going up a little bit late again today. That is because I was having internet issues again. Now, I have a tech coming out tomorrow. What do you think you're doing? But I'm not totally certain it's something mechanical or physical. I might actually be getting DDoSed. I'm not sure. I have taken some precautions against it, but we'll find out, I guess. Anyways, so in the time that I was off camera, what I did was I wasted some of the iron that I had collected to make some armor, so I'm not as helpless down here. And I also made a bucket and grabbed some water because there is a lot of lava down here. Now, I know I missed some diamonds yesterday and people were freaking out about it. I'm not really sure where those diamonds were, though, to be honest. I would have to probably look at the video to find where they were. I had meant to actually go back and get them, but I don't know. Uh-oh. Did I look at him? No. Let's get him out of there, though. Alright. So, anyways, what I want to do is I want to actually continue the story that I was telling yesterday. Oh, here are some diamonds. I don't know if these are the ones that I was looking for. These are not the diamonds you were looking for. But, hey, whatever. They're still diamonds. Hey, who's shooting at me? Oh, there he is. Get out of here. Hang on, give me 1 second. I just want to put some light up here. Oh. Alright, so anyways, the story that I had left off yesterday, I was talking about why I don't drink and some of the issues it had caused in my life. Now, really? Get out of here. Now, as I was saying yesterday, my family has had some issues with alcoholism, and let me just cover that up. Has had some issues with alcoholism, and I basically had the choice of what everybody does in that situation, which is either become an alcoholic myself or basically not drink ever. Those are usually the two paths that are taken by people who are in those types of situations. Now, at this point in my life, I know that I am a very strong person in both character and willpower, determination, things like that. So I know there is no question that I could drink now if I wanted to and have it completely under control. However, at this point, because I am, 32 years old and I have never drank, it's kind of like, why bother? Why start? It's maybe it's a bit of a novelty, I suppose, but I just look at it and think, it's kind of an expensive habit, and I don't know. I really don't see the point. Like, I'm more than capable of enjoying myself without having to drink, and I don't generally like the idea of not being in control of my own actions, anyways. So, it's like, meh, why bother? So, now, ooh, get out of here. And that's why I'm filling in all the lava, because of stuff like that. Whew. So, anyways, as I was saying yesterday, I decided that I was going to leave home, and I left home at the age of 16, pretty much right before I turned 17. And I stayed with my parents for a bit, not my parents, my grandparents for a bit. And then I left and went to stay with some friends, or friends' family. I basically rented a room from them, and it was pretty cheap. You know, they weren't really expecting a lot of money because I was still in high school and I didn't have a lot of money. Now, at the time, I was working basically full-time at a gas station as a gas attendant. And I used to, anytime I had future job applications, like in the near future, I didn't put gas attendant on my application. I put petroleum transfer engineer. I don't know, it sounds a little bit better than gas attendant. The thing is when you're a gas attendant, people look at you like you're an idiot, like you are basically scum of the earth, because you are perceived to be this, well, basically like an idiot. So I did that pretty much full time while I was in the rest of my junior year. So after that, I ended up, well, let's see. I think during my senior year, I actually started working at Walmart. I'm pretty certain I started working at Walmart at that point. And then at the end of my senior year, it was time for me to move on. I couldn't stay at my friend's house anymore. And I had to go and find an apartment. So I went and found my own apartment, but I wasn't making enough money at all. So I ended up having to get a second job and then a third job. And basically what ended up happening is at one point I was working something to the effect of anywhere between 70 to 90 hours a week. I think the highest I ever did was 96 hours in one work week. And the jobs that I had were working at Walmart, and then I was also working at a fiber optics place where you actually made the glass. And well, I guess I can probably tell that story now too. One of the things about how the glass worked was you would take these, what do you call them? You take them, these big glass tubes, and they had a chemically treated glass inside of them. And then you would put them in a kind of a furnace thing, which was about 1,000 degrees, I think. And then what would happen is you would use these tongs to reach into the furnace, and you would grab the glass with the tongs. And since the glass was so hot, it wasn't quite liquid, but it was really kind of like Play-Doh almost. And you could take it and then stretch it down in between these little conveyor belts. And those conveyor belts would pull the glass very slowly. And as it did that, it would also make the glass into these little fibers. And then you would take those fibers and you'd take the fibers and you would combine them, and then you would put them in another furnace, and then you would stretch it, and then you'd do it again and again and again, and until eventually there was a single, piece of fiber, or the glass lens type stuff. I think this company focused on making lenses, and it would be thousands and thousands of little tiny strands all inside of it, and that's how it was so powerful. I need to make some more torches. So I was doing that. I was working at Walmart. I was also at this place where you would grind glass. That was agonizing, I gotta tell you. Sitting in one place, or more appropriately, standing in one place for hours and hours on end, where you would just take... okay, so it was a piece of glass, all right? And it would be kind of like a 2-inch by 2-inch square. And what you would do is you would take the glass and you would grind one of the edges. Then you turn it and grind the other end, turn it, grind the next end, and you would keep doing that until all 4 corners had been kind of smoothed out. Then you would put it in a stack and grab the next one. And that's all I did for, I think that there was like anywhere between 8 to 12 hour shifts on that one. So that was, yeah, that was not pleasant. Actually, I'm going to leave that like there. Keep monsters from spawning. Like you. So I did that, and I had my own place, which was nice. Except I was working so much, I couldn't afford to do anything. I had no time, and I was beyond exhausted. So then I contacted I went to some party or something at a cousin's house, and one of my other cousins was there. He's a little older than me, and he's like, "Hey, I'm gonna be moving out of blah blah blah, and let's get an apartment together." So we did, and it's important to note that in this time, the span of like the 2 year, it was about 2 years worth of time, I not once spoke to my mother, and I, for the most part, completely avoided the rest of my family as well. I saw my dad every now and again, but for the most part, I avoided my entire family. Besides not really having time, I was so tired of how I had been treated and yada yada that I didn't want to talk to anybody or have anything to do with anybody in my family. And I literally went about 2 years without talking to my mother even once. Like nothing. There we go. So then I went and moved in with my cousin, and I was able to cut back on my hours, which was awesome, and then I actually was able to have some semblance of a life. And we stayed there for a little while, and then we ended up getting another roommate, and the place wasn't big enough for all of us, so we moved into another apartment, big enough for the 3 of us, and that just didn't work. My cousin and I, when we lived together, it was fine, but when we had this third person in there who was a friend of his and was sort of a friend of mine, it just didn't work. Largely because this third guy just didn't want to come up with his part of the rent more often than not. And on top of that, I ended up losing my job, and it was just not good all around. So it was at this point when my cousin moved out, and the other guy moved out, and we lost the apartment. And at that point, I had nowhere to go. I had no job. I didn't have a job at that time. I had no job. I had almost no money. I had nowhere to go. Like, nowhere to go. So, not many people know this in my family, but I actually stayed in my car for a little bit, which sucked. And, you know, not having a roof over your head is not very pleasant. So that's basically how I was for about a week. I lived in my car. And I actually had gotten a job at Best Buy, where I was working for really, really low amounts of money. And oh man, I hate these things. Hold on. These guys are going to cause me trouble. So I was working at Best Buy. And thankfully, an old friend of mine agreed to let me stay at his house for a little bit. So I stayed at his house for like a week, or maybe like 2-3 weeks, I think. And then after that, I couldn't stay any longer. So again, I was gonna be out on the street. So, oh, get out of there. So again, I was gonna be out on the street. And I contacted, he's not really my uncle, but he is my cousin's father. Well, I guess he is my, well, I guess he's like a, yeah, I guess he is a blood uncle. My cousin's parents had been divorced a long, long time. But yeah, so I guess he is my blood uncle. But you know what the thing is I never really thought of him as like an uncle because I never really saw him ever until, you know, I spent more time with my cousin. And man, these things are getting be so annoying. So I called him and I said, look, hey, I was already out on the street once, and, you know, I know you don't really even know me that much. I know we're blood related, but you don't even really know me that much. But I have nowhere to go. And basically at this point, you know, I need a place to stay. Now, it's important to note that he owned an apartment complex, and where he, his apartment complex was the one that my cousin and I originally lived in before we decided to move out to that three-room apartment. Now, at the time, all of the apartments were taken, so it's not like he couldn't give me a place. You know, he couldn't rent one to me because there were none. So he was willing to let me stay in what was basically the attic of his house, and you know, I paid him what I could, and then eventually the apartment opened up again, and he let me move down into the apartment. And then my cousin ended up moving in back with me again. And I ended up staying with him until I joined the Army. So, yeah, people, I do think it's kind of funny. You know, people had made a post on the Mindcrack subreddit talking about how BTC is a badass because the Army and getting picked on and yada yada. And all I could think of when I saw that was, man, you don't even know the half of it yet. So maybe one of these days I'll talk about the different jobs that I had. and some of the train wrecks that I had with that stuff. Man, that was, some of those jobs are terrible. Absolutely terrible. Where am I? Ooh. Ooh! Oh! Ooh! Ooh! Okay. We're gonna end this video here. Yeah. Okay, so that's the kind of, I mean, it's kind of an abbreviated version of how I basically was effectively homeless, like one and then almost twice. You know, well, this story leads into more stuff, but like I said, I'm going to end this video here. So thank you for watching. Remember, always blame the controller, because it's never your fault. Hey guys, you might know that I run a Minecraft custom map making build team, and we are currently looking for new people. So if you're good at building, making textures, or animating with programs like Blender or Maya, why don't you apply? You can go to blamethecontroller.com or click the link in the description.